Welcome to the circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia for round 3 of MotoE. Just a few weeks on from our absolute thriller in Le Mans. We're back to do it once again. A first time here for MotoE. Amy Reynolds and Matt Dunn to chat through the absolute showdown we saw in France a few weeks ago and what we can expect to see this weekend. Matt, our good friend Neil Morrison, your co-MotoE commentator, described it as the best MotoE race we've seen so far. I have to say, I completely agree with him.
Yeah, me too.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So great to see Eric Granado make all the right moves early on. He really put in an amazing assault right from the get-go, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. I mean, he got very fortunate, I think, from the E-pole with that sort of the drama that we had there. I think everyone remembers it. If you haven't watched it already, do go back and see it. I mean, he got the fastest lap first of all, and then unfortunately had a crash, and you thought, and then other people did beat his lap time. But then, because of all these cancellations, because of yellow flag infringements and the wet format that we had, well, he ended up getting pole position anyways. And I think he probably took that. Well, I was fortunate there, and then absolutely nailed it with the race win. It was great to see, and I'm not just saying that because he's slightly off camera, but it was a superb performance, and you just sort of hope for his sake, not for everybody else's sake, of course, that it sort of carries on, because it was just absolutely fantastic. But as for the action, I mean, I've only barely caught my breath back now.
Well, just to go back to Eric, it came at the right time.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't leave it any later than that, you know, when you're getting round 2. I mean, it's a relatively short season here in MotoE. You can't really afford too many mistakes, and to bounce back from what happened in Jerez, I mean, you couldn't do it in any better style, could you? And he's back in the running for the World Cup standings.
Shall we get in the man
yeah,
himself?
Let's bring him in, shall we?
Perfect. Eric Granado is here to join us. Congratulations, Eric. Oh, fist bumps there. Congratulations for the win last time out. We were just saying what an incredibly exciting race it was. I mean, that's for us watching. For you guys, it must have been amazing.
Yes, thank you. It was great. It was great. Like you said, it come in the best moment for me. You know, after Jerez, I was very fast in all the preseason. I was fast in all the weekend in Jerez, and unfortunately, I did a mistake and crashed in the race, and it was like a redemption for me in Le Mans. You know, I take a big weight from my back, and now I'm more relaxed. We already got many points in Le Mans. We are in a good position in the championship. We are on a good way, so I'm happy with that and hope to continue on this line.
I've got to ask you though, Eric, how did you keep calm? Because, you know, you had that win sort of in the bag when you crashed out in Jerez. And so you thought, with the chaos going all around you, I mean, that would have, with the conditions as well, that would have been a prime moment to make a similar mistake again. What changed in your mentality heading into Le Mans?
Well, I think I tried to be more calm, you know, especially in the first laps, you know. I know I'm fast, you know, in the wet and in the dry. Yeah. And to be honest, in the first laps, the bike gave me this calm because I had no grip in the rear, and I did like 2 or 3 almost high sides, and it was like, the bike is telling me something, relax. And I was like 3 laps calm, you know, understanding the bike, the track, taking the temperature in the tire. And then after the 4th lap, I had a very good feeling I could overtake everyone and don't lose in time. That's what is very important in the MotoE. If you win a position but you lose time, you know, the race is short, you don't have time to overtake again. So it was good and very nice. The battle in the last corner was so cool. And I think the flavor was better with this battle.
Eric, you showed so much determination. If there's one thing we saw from that race, and we know that a lot can happen in a short amount of time during the MotoE races, but the level of competition this year just seems to have gone up.
Yes, I think after 3 seasons, many riders, even if they are rookie, they know and they see how we ride and how is the category. So I think this is one thing that everyone understand really well. The race is short, so everyone now know what they need to do, you know. Try to don't do mistakes, the race is short, blah, blah, blah. And then you saw Le Mans was a big group, and it was nice to watch the race. I think I watched it already like 20 times, and it's nice, you know. I hope it continues like this. For sure, for the people at home watching the race, is very exciting. and I want to keep the show going on.
What do you think about here this weekend then? A brand new circuit for MotoE. I mean, there's not really a lot of setup time. You can nail a perfect setup for Sunday's race. How are you going to remain calm in terms of making that progress throughout the weekend so you're ready to fight for the win again?
Yes, I was ready, you know, I always wanted, but, you know, I need to think about the championship, do many points possible. You know, here is the new track for us, so we start like from zero, and we need to understand how the bike works here, how is the setting, how the bike will work on this very different circuit. So yeah, let's see. I hope I can improve session by session and have a good bike for the race.
Thanks so much for joining us, Eric. Best of luck for
Thank
this
you.
weekend. Matt, that leaves you and I to continue to chat.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks
Appreciate
so
it.
much, Eric, about the rest of our podium finishes in France. Another strong performance from Alessandro Zacconi. He remains the points leader. Unfortunately, was demoted one place from that podium, but a podium's a podium, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, absolutely.
And some great work from him during that race.
Yeah, I mean, I got to admit, I was one of the people, when he won that first race in Jerez, I did not expect that at all. I mean, he was showing that he was going to be quick, but you wondered, okay, he broke his leg here last year. Is his confidence going to be there? And he doesn't actually have that much experience around Jerez. He does, of course, from the pre-season test, but in a racing environment he didn't. But he led them, won that race like he's won many a MotoE races. And then to carry that form forward again in Le Mans, he's a true World Cup contender this year. I mean, he's got to be a name which all these guys coming into each weekend of thinking, got to keep an eye out for him, that's for certain.
And finally, Matteo Casadei from 16th on the grid.
I know. Well, that's the second time that we've seen something like this now. I mean, last couple of seasons of MotoE, if you qualified that far down by the grid, your race is over. And it was the same for Matteo Ferrari in that first race. You know, he came from stone dead last on the grid up towards it, you know, well inside the top 10, not far off the podium. Actually, well, you can do that now in MotoE apparently. So maybe that's going to change the dynamic in e-pole and things like that. Maybe it's not so much of a disaster. I mean, it always is a bit more risk, but maybe they can relax a little bit more, you know, if they're starting that far back, anything's possible.
And we spoke about the level of competition this year with Eric just a moment ago. Even our MotoE rookies are giving it some. We had two guys out there that weekend that came so close to a rostrum finish. Unfortunately, one of them made a slightly over-ambitious move. You tell us all about it.
Oh, well, I mean, we've already seen one of them come through, like Hikari Akubo was one of the guys that were really impressing as well there. And, you know, another couple of names that, well, I'd love to see him fight up the sharp end once again. Quite a lot of them were in, obviously, the main battle. And but thinking of also Firmin Aldeguer, we've seen come in already today. He's just come off the back of an amazing weekend in Mugello last weekend. Funny thing about him is that me and Neil, and we were talking about him when he was doing the replacement ride in Moto2. This is the MotoE hotshot and everything like that. He's only got 1 point to his MotoE record so far, whereas he's now got 4 in the Moto2 World Championship. I think that's just come from a couple of overly ambitious moves, as we mentioned, in the MotoE standings. But Aldeguer is a seriously talented youngster, and I really think he could be up there. If he nails it this weekend, you know, get some points on the board, you could start to see a pretty successive run for him.
Do you think we'll see Akubo in there again? Because
yeah, why not?
It wasn't just a flash in the pan.
Well, the point about this weekend, as we partly mentioned with Eric, is they've only got 3 free practice sessions, then the e-pole, to get their race setup sorted. That's all the track time they got here. They've not really had a test here at all. So this is the first time you're going to see everybody on this track, completely new for everybody. The guys who know the MotoE bikes the best and have a solid base, they are going to be in the ballpark from the get-go already. But then we've seen, you know, guys like Matteo Ferrari really struggled in Jerez anyways at the first part of the weekend, yet he's, you know, former champion. So you just never know, do you? Why not?
Listen, you can join Matt Dunn, Fran Wild and Neil Morrison for e-pole at 4 o'clock on Saturday, and then new race time this weekend. Join us from 4 o'clock for round 3 of MotoE. But from myself and Matt Dunn, it's goodbye for now.